All right. Dynamite Delight. Now I want to apologize. I'm sorry there was no NXT review. Now I did see it. I did see NXT, and I will say a couple of points. I'm not against what happened during the show. Some things were alright. Seeing they're building up into Evolution, I'm still not hyped for it, but at least the build is getting there. Seeing that Jasper Troy is working with, well, Devon Evans is not one of the best people to work with. He's still green himself, but at least if they screw up, it won't be 100% bad for Jasper, but I'm not saying it's great. Also, let me give it to you like this. Knowing that they're building up the Heritage Cup now that Nolan Dar supposedly is injured and he is out, and now it's going to be between Stax and Don himself is interesting. So the show wasn't 100% bad. Not even Briggs. And look, I know a lot of people are not fond when it came to Josh Briggs. And I know they're worried that, I think a few people might be worried that they're going to make him drop that title early. That's Trick Williams. But we already know it's going into Slammiversary like I thought. I did say it. I called it. So we're getting Trick Williams going to Slammiversary. And it looks like he will be doing the rematch against a Joe Henry. To be honest, I am hoping for something interesting there, but we still gotta wait. So, when it came to NXT, it wasn't bad. Now, I do have to apologize that I did not do the review. You probably already, well, counting if you know. New York had a very hot couple of days. So hot, in fact, and I don't have no AC. I have a small little fan in my apartment. I got fried. That's the truth. I have been fried for a couple of days. And worse, it gets even worse. Sunday, let me give you like this. Sunday was nice. It was cool. It was fine. I decided to go outside and get myself an egg sandwich. Yeah, a nice egg sandwich. Go to the same place I always do, but there's a guy there that he doesn't really be mindful about what happens with the eggs and the eggshells. It has happened a couple of times with him. But this time, this guy who made my egg sandwich did not check to see if any big pieces of shell was in it. And guess what? I bit into it and I cut a very good chunk into my roof of my mouth. And for at least a day or so, on and off, I was bleeding from my mouth. Of course, now it's closed off. I'm fine. I'm all right. But it was hard enough that I could not do no wrestling reviews because I was just fried. When they say you get tired and get heat exhaustion, I got heat exhaustion. I was sleeping most of the time. I was too tired to do a damn thing. And to be honest, I still am tired. But with a cut in the top of my mouth, which made it hard to talk, on and off spitting blood. Yeah, of course, I took care of it. I took Listerine. I brushed my teeth. I'm fine. Don't worry. No infection. I'm cool. But damn, man, that sucked. But this is not about me giving my gripe. This is about me talking about Dynamite Delight. And let's give it like this. We got 17 days before we get All in Texas. I'm going to say this. Am I interested? No. I don't want to make it clear. I don't 100% hate the show, but am I interested in All In? Generally, no. Now, of course, the final match is the one I care the most about, Hangman Page versus Moxley. Yeah. But for the majority of the show, no. Let's get into what we got here. Opening match in Seattle, Washington. We get Swerve and Will versus... Why? Why did we get Lee Johnson and Blake Christensen? I think it would have been more effective they did some type of segment, either in the back or in the ring, trying to work out. And I'm not saying this is a great story. Look, I'm not saying it. But if you're teasing that Hangman Page must work with not just Will, but also Swerve, wouldn't it have been better to do another segment with that than have a match? And I'm saying this. It's not about the match quality. It was fine. Swerve gets the pin on Christensen. He just takes him out. But now, you look at the build up going into All in Texas. And now you're going to have the EVPs come out during that match. Then you're going to have the EVPs mess with them to almost the point where they didn't go to the ring. But, that pissed them off. And now you're going to have... Why are the EVPs in a situation like this? Now, mind you, what would give them the incentive? And let's make this very clear. The match between the EVPs, Swerve and will be about their power. About them being EVPs. Why would they have even an interest to even do this unless someone is going away? Because there's no other reason why they would do something like this. Because Tony could have stripped them of their ability to be executive vice presidents a long time ago, but he has not done it due to the fact they have a contract. And now they want to have a match trying to get them to lose their titles as EVPs. Not saying that Swerve and Will Ospreay are going to be the ones who are going to take that title from them and become EVPs themselves. No, just them getting rid of it. But why would they even want to do the match in the first place? There has to be a reason. There must be a stipulation. Something that will penalize both Will and Swerve, or one of them. If it's not there, this makes no sense. None. They better have a good reason for them to do it, because they have no interest next to Swerve stomping a whole bunch of people. Now he's a week away because he's now suspended. Why would they have an interest? So there better be a good answer. Next, Ibushi versus Trent Beretta, or Trent. Haven't seen Ibushi in a while. He's been out. I think he's been injured for the last 2 years, and he just recently came back. So that's good to see someone after they've been hurt for a while, they came back. But here's the thing. I'm like, if he's going to be going up against... I rather wish... you see I'm frustrated here. This is the 300th episode of Dynamite next week. And now we're getting Okada versus Ibushi. Probably for the title. And I know they're not going to do it. They're not going to sacrifice the title there if they're building up to Kenny. But Ibushi just came back. Not saying he works for AEW, but he just came back. Wouldn't it have been better that they set the groundwork for whoever wins that match to do something with Ibushi after All In? You could have built this up for the next week or so. Let Ibushi have a couple of matches, then leave it until after All In, and then start building more into a real match between Ibushi and Okada, whether he got the title or not. Giving people a reason to care about Ibushi. Counting if they're going to let him do more than one match, because I don't know if he's working for New Japan Pro Wrestling. But if he is, and even though WWE has worked with them along with Pro Wrestling Noah, I want to see some story. And there ain't none. They're just giving us a damn match. Tony just decided to just throw it out there next week for no reason. None. If he just came back after being gone for nearly 2 years with an injury, wouldn't it have been good to give us an actual story? No. Bushi wins. Do I care? No. Next, we get a little segment in the back with Ricochet and AR Fox where... No, I don't hate AR Fox. I just think he's very underutilized. I just really believe, yes, he's worked with Nick Wayne. He worked with Swerve. He did work with Swerve. He worked with Nick Wayne. He worked with Keith Lee. He has done some things throughout the year, last couple of years, that have given him a bit of a shine. And you would think that the writers would give him more to work with. Not saying that he's perfect when he talks and holds a promo. Or does he have a lot of charisma? He doesn't. Let's make it clear. He doesn't have a huge amount of charisma. But you have shown him to be interesting. And you could have tried to do the writing a little better than what you've been doing. But no. Now, Ricochet is trying to get people on his side where he is trying to get a title. He wants minions. He wants minions. That's what he wants. He wants freaking minions by his side so he can become a champion. And he goes to AR Fox. And AR, they know each other for years. And AR is thinking about it. He's going like this. He's going, Like he's about to say, I don't know. Handshake. Now he's got to go into the ring. And AR goes down to the ring and he acts nice and all that. But then during the match, because it was AR Fox and him versus Speedball Mike Bailey and the Jet. And I got to tell you, Jet Speed's not a bad name for Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey. I actually like it. I like Jet Speed. It's not a bad name for them. But I'm like, are you really going to push Jet Speed? Are you going to make Jet Speed mean something in a tag division that really doesn't feel important? And understand, I will get to the Hurt Syndicate in a minute. But really? I'm wondering, will they do anything with Jet Speed? We get a good match, but then we get dissension between AR Fox and Ricochet. They lose the match due to the fact that Ricochet, you know what? I'm out. Fuck this. You ain't gonna do what I tell you? Fuck this shit, I'm out. And he walks away. AR Fox eats the pin. And now what do we have? Do we have a feud between AR Fox and Ricochet? Will that happen on Collision tonight? Because I'm not watching Collision. I'm not. I want to do TNA. But AR Fox, will he have a feud with now Ricochet? Because Ricochet couldn't get him to do whatever the fuck he wanted. I don't know. Now, let me give it to you like this. The first Fatal 4-Way for the Casino Gauntlet match at All In. Whoever wins gets a shot at the champion, whoever it is. Let me give it to you like this. We get Kateska, Bandito, Roderick Strong, and Mark Briscoe. Let me make it to you very clear. Who seems to be the best person that would do anything in that situation? Do you believe Bandito, who's barely seen on TV, who is an ROH wrestler, should get that title shot? Well, if he goes to the Battle Royal and wins it and goes and becomes a possible title shot holder. No. Roderick Strong versus, is it Undisputed now, or is it the, what did they call themselves? I can't remember what they call it. The Pinnacle? I don't even remember. Do you believe he deserves it? No. Then you look at Kateska and Mark Briscoe. Kateska currently is with the Don Callis family. He's currently looking and eyeing Okada's title, which eventually will be merged to become an undisputed title. A unified champion. They're going to call it something. I don't know what they're going to call it. I don't think they're going to call it the Unified Championship permanently. The AEW Unified Championship, I don't know. Maybe they will. Hopefully they will. Call it something cool. Don't know. But we had that segment, them staring at each other. And he said, this is only temporary because Okada's working with the Don Callis family temporarily. And he said, yeah, sure. And that's Okada talking to Kateska. Wouldn't it make some sense that maybe Kateska could go forward? That would make some sense because we are having some type of story with Kateska working possibly with Okada eventually. That might be an extra added thing going to a layer of this story. They do have a history. No. We get Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe. The man, more than a few years ago, who lost his brother's life. He lost his brother Jay's life. Jay and Mark were very loved in RH. They had something until Jay unfortunately passed away in that car crash. But then, months after his brother's death, he had a huge amount of support and a huge amount of traction as a face. And instead of going somewhere with it, they did nothing with it. Mark went from being here with his brother, and then after his brother's death, and I'm not saying he should have benefited from his brother's death, but at least it would make some sense, particularly that his nieces were in the car with them, with their dad, badly injured. They needed money to be able to pay for the medicines, pay for the surgeries, and they recovered greatly. But he really is over. And people want him up here, and he is here. And instead of taking him from here and going up with it and up with it and up, no. They kept him here, slightly bumped him up here, and then he went down there. And I'm like, they lost their fucking chance with him. It was so stupid. He didn't need to be the biggest starter. He didn't need to get the world title, but he could have been a relevant wrestler. Leaving him in the main title picture and making him feel relevant. He's charismatic. He's well known. Yes, he bleeds a little too much. Yeah, they like cutting him a lot. But he's one of those few wrestlers that people love and could easily get over. No. They did nothing. And now after what happened with this Hurt Syndicate, because, understand, Jet Speed got their asses handed to them because they wanted to say, we want a shot at the damn champions, and trying to do a little song before that with a little bit of Kevin Knight trying to play off a little bit of a song. They get put through a table. You get a little bit of the Hurt Syndicate in the ring, which had somewhat of a good story. I mean, they're trying to make sure that MJF is over. He's going into the gauntlet himself, and he wants his damn title back. You see a little bit of Bobby in the background going, because he's waiting. He's waiting to whoop that ass so he can get that damn title himself when the time is right. But not now. But then we get Mark Briscoe coming out saying that Mike in the back is saying, you know what, they're taking too long. Can you do something about it? He says to them, please, could you get out of the ring so I can do my match? And then MJF getting mad and being told he's a little gherkin by Mark Briscoe, saying that you need empathy. You need understanding. You are compensating for something because you were bullied so much. And I understand you. I understand that you need some empathy. You need something in your heart, but maybe a little bit compensating a little bit, because look at you. You're in the ring with 3 ass black men. Are you like this? Well, actually, I should reverse that. Are you like this? Or are you like this, Mr. Little Gherkin? And everyone's laughing at it, which is fine. But then it's like, with that, you're going to have Mark Briscoe in a feud with MJF. In a sense, you should. Because MJF got pissed when people started calling him little kosher. I think little kosher pickle or little kosher. I'm just saying little gherkin. But the point is, what are you doing with Mark? A guy that is one of the few people there, like when Eddie Kingston, who has not come back yet, who's one of the few people that is known, that is really over, and instead of building something around him, they've done nothing. And I'm like, what the fuck? Now, let's go to the women's Casino Battle Royal 4-way to get into the gauntlet match. Thunder Rosa, Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander. I am angry. I'm angry. Athena was in that match. She was so freaking over. She came out. People were cheering for her ass as the forever champion. She's been champ for 3 fucking years. I'm sorry for all this cursing. I don't normally curse this much. But I'm like pissed off about this. She's been champ for 3 years. She is over with the ROH crowd. She's even over with the Dynamite crowd. People know who she is. People love her. And they've done nothing with her on the main roster. They've done nothing with her in Collision. And they've done nothing with her on Dynamite. She should have been moved to Dynamite and made important. And they've done nothing. Look how that match went. Look, at one point, let's make it very clear. I'm not telling Willow is a heavy-set woman. She's not. A woman's a big woman that is in really good shape. But she's going to be heavier than Athena, Thunder Rosa. The only one that could probably pick her up very, very easily, or to a certain extent, would be Chris Statlander. She got picked up by Athena like it was freaking nothing, and she gave her a damn gut check. Doesn't this tell you how great Athena is? Doesn't this tell anyone who leaves comments, tell me how you feel about Athena, taking away from that damn title? How Athena is so damn good and they're doing nothing with her. This is what pisses me about this entire storyline. Well, not even a storyline. There is no storyline for Athena. She just wins. But there's a story there. Very, very minuscule one. And it makes you wonder will they actually pull the trigger on it. And that's with Chris Statlander. Because what did we get? Wheeler Yuta coming out. And we get Marina Shafir coming out, messing with Willow. Willow does a nice block to Wheeler Yuta. He's light enough to be done. He is light enough that he could get away with that. If it had been Jon Moxley, I don't think he would have been light enough to actually be able to get it done. Because he's too heavy for Willow Nightingale. He's much more heavy than her. She wouldn't be able to shove him around like she did with Wheeler Yuta. She nails Marina Shafir. And Chris picks up the scraps and wins. Now, we know what happened with Chris last week when Moxley spoke to her. But now, my question is this. Does this mean she'll join? That doesn't make sense to you that she joins the Death Riders. To be honest, yes. Because Moxley made it very clear, you don't need to apologize for no damn thing you done. You done it, that's it. It makes you wonder, if you're going to do this, then go all the way with it. Marina Shafir is the only woman there, and they've done nothing for multiple months when this storyline came around. Nothing. Only in this year, only the last couple of months, they've actually done anything with her on the main roster. Not talking about Collision, not talking about ROH, just Dynamite. And now we get something from her, but it doesn't feel like anything. It would be better if they had another woman with them, and Chris makes the perfect sense. But do I believe they're going to pull the trigger on it? I don't know. I don't think they would. And if they did, I think it's going to be very brief. And to be honest, so brief, in fact, it's not going to mean anything. Because you know who would be the best person in that type of situation? Think about it for a minute. Who would be the best person to be in that position instead of Chris Statlander? Megan Bayne. Wouldn't it make sense to have Megan Bayne, who rose and then dropped like a damn stone because of Tony? They could have played off that, and he could have approached Megan and said, you know what, girl? You got great gift, but guess what happened? You should have easily gotten something better. And you did. And he could have done that with that. Now, I'm not forgetting what happened in the beginning of the show where a Mercedes Moné beat the shit out of a little bit of a... Well, it was expected when it came to a Toni Storm. She had to get her ass kicked a little bit. She did. I'm not surprised. But the question now is this. Will this mean anything? I don't know. The women's division just is not good. You got so many great women in there. Look, I'll give you a basic lineup of what we got. We got Toni Storm. We got the CEO. I mean, there's no way you can deny she's not a great wrestler, but her booking sucks. Then you got Taya Valkyrie. Then you got... Why are Taya Valkyrie and Deonna Purrazzo on... not even Collision. They're on, I'm sure, they're generally on ROH TV. You have so many women. A returning Ty Mello. Will you actually see her on TV? Probably not. You're not going to see Ty. She just came back. I'm not saying Ty is one of the best, but that's not the point. But we get that. We got a whole bunch of women in the back that could mean something. Selena Deeps is one of the best pure wrestlers they have. And they've given us such bad story booking. Look, Queen Amanala, I don't hate. I actually like Queen Amanala. But the story that Selena Deeps had with Queen Amanala sucked. It should have been better. Hiroko Shida at one point meant something, but it was only about her doing the wrestling in a ring and a little brief talk about when she was a gamer and she can talk freaking English. All these women that do have ability to speak English and can do something they've done nothing with. So you tell me how this division means anything when it doesn't. Last match. We get the Beast Mortos, the former Black Taurus from Impact Wrestling and AAA, going against Hangman Page. The only reason he was in the match was because the last match they had, and he was helping out the Bucks. I'm going to give it to you like this. This was not about the match quality because the Beast Mortos can really wrestle really well. He's one of the few luchadors that I really do like. And I'm angry they've done nothing with him. Only thing he does is grunt. Arr! That's it. He did that in Impact Wrestling, TNA, and he's doing it here. Honestly, they should be doing more with him. Like with Roosh, they're not doing a damn thing with Roosh. Roosh feels like a nothing, a nobody, a waste of space. And Beast Mortos is even more of a waste of space because not only does he has a great wrestling ability, I do believe when he was in AAA, he could talk. They let him talk, but hear nothing. Of course, Hangman Page wins, but then what do we get? The lights going out, the Bucks kick him in the face with the EVP trigger, and then Moxley comes to the ring. Marina has a chain wrapped around his hands after she brought it into the ring, chokes out the Hangman Page. The Ops try to help, could not do it. Then we get Will. But then we don't get a picture of Swerve Strickland watching in the back. Where I think if they're going there, and I'm saying that's the best thing to do. I'm not. But if you are going with this story, that Will Ospreay, Hangman Page, and Swerve Strickland should work together, make Swerve mean something by letting him be seen on screen, in front of a camera, or up the ramp, something. Unless I missed it, nothing. So I'm not going to tell you the show is bad. But I'm like, where are we going? I mean, I don't understand. Am I interested in Patriarchy becoming tag champions when you see Christian and Nick Wayne? No. I'd rather see Christian work with Adam Copeland. Do I want to see FTR work with the Outrunners? No. But that's what they're stuck with because what happened on Collision, the Outrunners came out and was chasing them off for no reason. Now, this Collision, they're going to ask them, why'd you do it? I'm like, I don't understand this booking. I don't get it. I'm looking at my paper to see if there's anything interesting here that makes any sense. And honestly, a lot of it does not make sense. It's like someone, Tony, decided to make several different lines of stories, give them a little bit of information, a little bit of something, and then they just get dropped really quickly. And then he moves on with another group of possibilities. And if they don't get even a slightly amount of traction where they should be built more than a few weeks, like a month or two, no, drop like a hot potato. It just feels like that. Great wrestling in many cases. Beast Mortos is one of the people I can honestly say as a luchador I really like watching. He's one of the rare ones I really like watching where I don't mind his high flying. I like him. But he means nothing. But it's just me. I hope you enjoyed this review. Give me a comment below. It is still hot in my apartment. Even though it's cooler. If you don't know, I live in an old brownstone building that's probably built from the 1900s. Yeah, possibly 1918, 1920. Because it was built around that time. The bricks keep heat in. And it's still hot in here, even if you leave your windows open. It is hot still. The bricks haven't cooled down yet. And it's been 3 days at baking. But at least I don't have a cut in the top of my roof of my mouth anymore. Thank goodness I can eat and not worry about any little bloody coming out. Peace. You see, I'm still fried, boys.